Welcome to all my listeners around the world. Thank you for joining me right here on our YouTube channel. Again, I'm your host, Vivian, the host of Real Talk, keeping the discussions real. At this time, I just want to welcome you again to our channel. Yes, where you will be fed, where you will be entertained. We'll be discussing several topics over the next few days. You'll also see some live shows from the studio. But at this time, I just want to share with you just a devotion. It's going to be a series actually, and it's entitled The Spirit of Offense. Yes, we want to unmask this secret weapon that the enemy is using, a secret tool. It belongs to him and he's using it rightfully so. However, we need to guard ourselves against it. We need to be careful how we respond to it, because how we respond to the spirit of offense will determine our future. So again, over the next couple of days, you will be hearing from me as we discuss the spirit. Very subtle, however deadly. It has caused many persons to come out of position, to break covenants, to just mess themselves up terribly, because that's what the enemy wanted to happen. So we're going to discuss the spirit. We're going to unmask it. And if you have been held captive to the spirit, I want you to remind you that I want to remind you that Jesus has come to set the captives free. The spirit of offense, what is it? Yes, it is a tool that the enemy uses, and he attaches a bait to it. Yes, for those of you who have gone fishing, you know that you cannot just go fishing with a fishing line. You have to have a bait to attract the fishes. Is that all right? So the enemy is using this tool and attaches a bait to it to entrap the believer. So basically, this is a tool that is laid so the believer can get trapped in it, so then he can hold that person captive and to do whatever he wants to do with that person. But again, we're here to unmask this spirit. There are many persons who have left churches, many persons whose marriages has been destroyed because the wife offended the husband, or the husband offended the wife. Many friendships have been destroyed because of the spirit. Many persons have moved under leadership because of this offense. And again, we want to unmask it because, again, it's a deadly spirit and it must be dealt with. One of the sad things is that many of us have been bitten by this spirit and we don't even realize it. So we want to talk about to those people over the next couple of days. If I were to put persons into two categories that's dealing with this spirit, it would be those who have been really wronged. So therefore, they were wronged in a way that really caused the offense unjustly. And there were those who thought they were wronged, whether it by a misunderstanding or somebody coming and saying something to them, and they took offense to it and they acted in a way that they shouldn't act. Again, remember, it's crucial that you do not make a temporary, a permanent decision based on offense in a temporary situation. Again, how we respond to the spirit will determine our future. Again, I will be talking over the next couple of days about David and Saul. Yes, many of us, again, and we're bringing it into the church. We're keeping it real because it's real talk. Many of us have experienced offense, under the leaders whom we look up to. Some of us are looking up to them as fathers, as mothers, and they offended us. Saying again, be careful how you respond when you are offended. It will determine your future. And I just want to go a little bit ahead of myself when I talk about David and Saul. David looked to Saul as a father figure. He was loyal to Saul. He did everything he could. You understand? Even when Saul was pursuing to kill him, David remained loyal. Just think about it. David thought, and he was wondering, what did I do, to turn Saul against me in this way? And all I did was ever, love him. All I did was ever serve him. And many of us, we've served loyally to some of our leaders, but yet still, there's just this resentment. There's just something that's not adding up, But the greatest thing that the lesson that David learned was that when he had the appointed time where he could have killed Saul, he refused to do it. You understand? And he instructed his men not to do anything. Why? Because David recognized, in spite of Saul's behavior, he was still considered the anointed one. You understand? David respected that. And that is what I want to, over the next couple of days, teach us, as I've learned myself, that in spite of that leader who is mistreating, in spite of how he's dealing with you, he's still the anointed one. But God is about to use that corrupt leader to train you, just as how he did David. David was the next king to come in place. You understand? And God wanted to see, and sometimes, God will test us to see if we will allow him to establish us, or if we will try to establish ourselves using the same tactics as a corrupt person. So we'll talk about David and Saul, and even Samuel. You understand what I'm trying to say? So again, there is a purpose for why God would allow us to be seated under certain people, or to be still engaged with certain people. There's a lesson to learn. And again, it is it comes through offense, but it's how we deal with the offense when it comes. So again, over the next couple of days, I'll be coming to you with bits and pieces, and we'll talk about it. Have you ever been offended? And the thing about it is that the person that so desires to kill us, you understand, we can kill them. You might know something about the leader, or you might know something about the person who's pursuing you to kill you. You understand? You have the opportunity to destroy them, as David had the opportunity to destroy Saul. What am I saying to you? Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't expose the leader. Don't expose the secrets that you know, because at the end of the day, yes, God is teaching you. You understand? That he's the one that's going to establish you. You're not going to play dirty as how they're playing dirty, but you're there to learn something. What can you learn from a corrupt leader? I want you to buckle yourself down. You understand? Fasten your seatbelt, because there is a lot to learn. Again, we're going to be talking about the spirit of offense. And through the spirit of offense, a lot of spiritual vagabonds are born. Yes, I said it. Spiritual vagabond. What is a spiritual vagabond? I will let you know, yes, over the next couple of days. Let me tell you something. I myself had to look in the mirror and say, God, have I become a spiritual vagabond? Yes, you look yourself in the mirror. You understand? And you have to question. Just look at your actions. Look at the steps that you took. Have you become a spiritual vagabond because of the spirit of offense? Again, I'm your host, Vivian. It's Real Talk, and we're going to talk about this real spirit that's causing many persons to leave churches and to jump from one church to the other. Let me tell you something. If you have caught hold of the bait of offense, and it has poisoned you, and you've left from that church and gone to another church, you're already gone infected. You understand? And because you have gone infected, you are now in a position to infect that where you are. You understand? Many of us have left with the spirit of offense and the wound of an offense and did not get healing. You understand? So what am I trying to say? Real talk here. You have a lot of offended people that are ministering. You have a lot of offended people that are laying hands. You have a lot of people that have been offended and are still, doing certain things. You understand? Is that right? Let's talk about it. It's a real talk where the discussions are always kept real. Again, I'm your host. Welcome to our YouTube channel. Please subscribe. Please spread the word, because we do need to unmask this secret weapon of the enemy, and we're going to deal with it, the spirit of offense. Keep it locked. I'm your host, Vivian.